In the forgotten town of Stillwater's Edge, just a speck on the map where dust settled more often than dreams, three boys found something greater than the hardships etched into their families' histories. Toby, Liam, and Shasta had little in the way of material wealth, but their friendship was a bond unshaken by hunger or hardship. They shared everything: their meals, their burdens, their prayers, even their clothes. Every evening, after their chores and school lessons, they meet beneath the gnarled oak at the edge of town. They called it the chapel tree, though it was nothing more than an old, twisted survivor. It became their sanctuary, a place where their laughter rang loud enough to challenge the quiet sadness of the streets. Toby, the dreamer, saw past the poverty and spoke of a life where their families thrived. Liam, the steady one, carried hope like a lantern, never dimming, always lighting the way. And Shasta, ever bold, refused to let the weight of their struggles silence his joy. Through moments of despair, empty cupboards, the sting of rejection, days where the world seemed indifferent, they clung to the message they read in the tattered Bible passed between them. The joy of the Lord is your strength. It was in their laughter, in the way they stood by each other, in the hands they extended to those who had less than they did. They were richer than their circumstances let on. Because joy wasn't in what they lacked, it was in their faith, their brotherhood, and their shared belief that no soul was forgotten in Christ's love. And so, the town that no one remembered was home to a story worth telling. The tale of three boys who walked into the future with little in their pockets, but the abundance of grace in their hearts. Toby grew up in a house where his mother stitched together scraps of fabric to make blankets for families who had even less than theirs. He watched her hands work tirelessly, learning that love wasn't measured in what you had, but in what you could give. He dreamed of becoming an architect, not just of buildings, but of new possibilities, of better lives for people like them. He was the one who painted futures in the air, speaking hope into existence even when others saw nothing but hardship. Liam had a father who worked sunrise to sundown in a failing mechanic shop, fixing cars that barely ran and getting paid in whatever customers could spare. Liam inherited his father's patience. He knew how to fix things, not just engines, but people. Whenever Toby or Shasta faltered, Liam was there, steady as a lighthouse in the storm. He believed that even when the world seemed indifferent, faith remained, like a quiet ember waiting to catch fire. Shasta's mother worked double shifts at a diner where truckers and drifters passed through, their eyes heavy with stories of their own struggles. She taught him that joy wasn't about having everything. It was about finding light in what you had. Shasta was loud, fearless, the first to break into laughter, even when their circumstances begged for silence. He was the heartbeat of their friendship, the reminder that even Christ smiled, that faith wasn't just solemn, it was vibrant, fierce, and full of life. Stillwater's Edge wasn't a place people moved to. It was a place they left if they could. But for Toby, Liam, and Shasta, it was home. They had nothing by the world's standards, yet they were rich in something far greater: faith, laughter, and the unbreakable bond of brotherhood. Beneath the chapel tree, their refuge at the town's edge, they shared their lives, their dreams, their fears, and their unwavering belief that Christ had not forgotten them. When their stomachs growled, when doors closed in their faces, when life reminded them of everything they lacked, they met beneath that gnarled oak, gripping the worn pages of a Bible passed between their families. But their faith wasn't easy. Poverty tested them, and life wasn't kind. Toby dreamed of becoming an architect, shaping homes where families wouldn't have to fight against the cold. When a church mission offered him a scholarship far from town, he wrestled with guilt. He wanted to take it, but how could he leave Liam and Shasta behind? Liam was steady, but even rocks crack under pressure. His father's mechanic shop was failing and responsibility weighed on him. He asked himself whether faith was enough, whether prayer alone could put food on the table. Shasta, always the boldest, was the first to laugh, the last to cry, until his mother's unexpected passing. Joy had always come easily to him, but now he felt its absence like an ache. He questioned everything, searching for the God who promised to bring comfort. When everything felt lost, they returned to the chapel tree one last time, seeking answers. And there, through whispered prayers and shared burdens, they found what had been with them all along. Joy was never about escaping pain. It was about finding Christ in the midst of it. Toby left, but not without a promise. He would return to build something lasting. Liam stayed, finding hope in service, discovering that his family's struggles were shared by others and that helping them was his calling. Shasta, slowly, hesitantly, learned to laugh again, realizing grief could exist alongside joy, and that faith didn't mean the absence of sorrow, but the presence of love. And the town that no one remembered? It became a place of quiet miracles, known only to those who lived them. Because 3 boys, 3 brothers had chosen faith over despair and joy over emptiness. Our next segment of the story finds the 3 brothers, as they like to refer to themselves, sitting beneath the chapel tree as the late afternoon light filters through the branches. Toby stares at the scholarship letter in his hands, its edges worn from rereading. Toby speaks up first. "If I leave, what happens to us?" Liam leans back against the tree, his arms crossed, says in response to Toby's question, "We ain't disappearing, Toby." Friendship doesn't work like that. Shasta, grinning with a solemn look in his eyes, says, "Yeah, you think you can just up and shake us off? That isn't going to happen." Toby shakes his head. "It's not that simple. I prayed for a way out, for something more. And now it's here, but it feels like I would be turning my back on everything that matters." Liam leans forward and says, "Toby, do you really think God gave you a dream just to have you leave it behind?" Shasta nods his head in response. "Maybe this ain't you abandoning us. Maybe it is you carrying us with you, showing that folks from nowhere towns can do something big. Ain't that worth something?" "But what if I fail?" Toby shoots back in response. Liam shrugs his shoulders, smiling gently. "Then you come back and we figure it out like we always do. Together." Shasta laughs, nudging Toby's shoulder. "And if you do fail, at least we will have a good story to tell." Toby exhales, the weight in his chest loosening. He glances at the letter, then at his brothers, their faith in him steady, unwavering. "All right," Toby said. "I will go. But I swear one day I am coming back. And when I do, we are going to build something here that will last and make Stillwater's Edge a destination place." Liam, grinning, says, "We will be waiting." Shasta leans forward, making a dramatic gesture before responding to Liam's comment. "Yes, and we will be here and starving, so yeah, don't forget to bring food with you when you return." Laughter breaks the tension. As the sun dips behind the hills, the 3 boys sit together. Rich not in what they have, but in the love and faith that binds them. Now, our story takes us 20 years into the future. Stillwater's Edge hadn't changed much, not in ways that mattered. The dust still clung to the roads and the houses leaned just a little further into their wear. Liam never left. He had taken over the mechanic shop, keeping things running the best he could. Shasta stayed too, running the diner where laughter was still free even when food wasn't. But Toby had left. And though letters came, the years stretched long. The town they had once dreamed of rebuilding felt forgotten, swallowed by time. Then, on an ordinary evening, as Liam wiped the grease from his hands and Shasta stacked chairs at the diner, a black SUV rolled onto Main Street. The door swung open and out stepped a man. Not just any man, but Toby. Older, sharper, confident. "Stillwater's Edge went up for sale," he announced, voice steady, eyes bright. I bought it. Now let's build it into the future. At first there was silence and shock. Then Liam shook his head, exhaling a sharp breath. Toby, you're kidding, Shasta interrupted, staring. You actually came back? Toby grinned. I told you I would. Took longer than I planned, but here I am. Liam crossed his arms, studying him. And now you want to rebuild the town? Toby nodded. Yeah, but not alone. He looked between them, between the brothers who had never left, who had kept Stillwater's Edge alive in ways no architect ever could. This isn't just about me, it's about all of us. We can make this place into what we dreamed. Something lasting, something hopeful. Shasta let out a disbelieving laugh, shaking his head. You always did dream big, Toby. Liam's expression softened. And maybe that's exactly what this town needs. Toby glanced up at the chapel tree in the distance, its branches stretching wide, sturdy even after all these years. The joy of the Lord is our strength. Liam nodded, a slow smile breaking. It always was. Shasta clapped Toby on the back. All right, architect. Let's build something worth remembering. And so, after years of waiting, Stillwater's Edge wasn't just a forgotten town anymore. It was a future, a promise fulfilled, a dream reborn, a testament to the faith that had carried them through. A vision for Chapel Tree. The three stood beneath the chapel tree once more, older, wearier, yet bound by something that had never faded. The sun cast long shadows as Toby pulled out a folder, setting it on the rough wooden table outside Shasta's diner. I've been thinking about this for a long time, Toby began, his voice steady but brimming with emotion. I built a firm, I found success, but nothing ever felt whole without this place, without the people who made me who I am. Shasta leaned against the railing, arms crossed. Toby, you don't owe us anything. No, but I want to give back, Toby countered. He turned to Liam. I want to buy the shop and the diner, not to own them, but to make sure you two own them outright. No debts, no worries. I want you both to have full control, to build them into something lasting. Liam exhaled sharply, shaking his head. You serious? Dead serious. Silence stretched between them, heavy with disbelief. Then Toby continued, unfolding a sketch plan for something bigger. And another thing. This town, Stillwater's Edge, it was never just a forgotten place. It was a sanctuary, a promise. I want to change its name. I want to call it Chapel Tree. Because this tree, this town, it gave us strength when we had nothing. Shasta's gaze flickered to the towering oak, his throat tight. You really think people will come here? We'll make them want to, Toby assured him. I'm building a park, a place of beauty filled with trails, lakes, flowers, trees, and an indoor-outdoor cafe. He turned to Shasta, a small smile forming. I want to name it after your mother. Shasta swallowed hard, looking away, emotion breaking through his usual bravado. Toby, I don't even know what to say. Toby placed a firm hand on his shoulder. Then just say, yes. Liam chuckled, shaking his head. Well, if we're really doing this, we better make it something worth remembering. Shasta wiped his hand over his face, exhaling sharply. All right, architect. Let's build something beautiful. And there, beneath the chapel tree where it all began, three men stood together. Brothers, dreamers, believers. And a town, once forgotten, was reborn. The end.